We good? All right. Cool. Hey, I have with me here today John, and he lives in the D.C. area. John, how long have you been living here?
About 25 years.
His entire life. Wow. So you've seen a lot of big changes happening around here.
No, for sure, for sure. I've seen it before, and I've seen all the developments and new projects come up, and it's interesting to see how it's changed.
So we're in the area of the Shea. Is that correct? The Shaw? The Shaw. We are in the area of the Shaw. And do you live in this area right here?
I used to live here. I live in Virginia now, but I mean, I'm very familiar with like the DMV area. Actually, I lived here for a year in Shaw, like on 2nd and V.
Oh, okay. So in the past, especially 3 years, there's been huge changes in this area. Have you heard of the Don't Mute DC movement?
I have not.
Well, the Don't Mute DC movement was all about the Metro PCS, and it originated there as far as them playing music, and they're a music shop, and then people around here started to complain of the sound and et cetera, et cetera. So that is also in tribute to gentrification. Are you familiar with the gentrification in the area?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. So DC used to be a historically African-American community, and then with the new developments and projects, obviously housing becomes more unaffordable for certain communities, and you start to see those communities pushed out to the outer areas, which is definitely a concern. There's pros and cons to like development projects. You have more business, more money for the more taxes, more money for the city itself, but then there's drawbacks, social issues.
So what is your personal opinion on the gentrification in this area? There's no right or wrong answer here.
That's a great question. I obviously, since I've been born here, I like the identity that DC has, and you kind of lose that. It's kind of blended with like a more tourist aspect. If you take the Wharf, for example, that used to be like a traditionally DC like seafood spot, Maryland like crab spot, and now if you go, it's become like this unrecognizable thing, like all these businesses and restaurants, which I guess is cool if you haven't grown up here, but if you've grown up here, it's obviously a little bit different and weird to see those things.
So it's weird. So you feel like it's a little bit weird for gentrification. Do you see a positive side to it?
I mean, there's more jobs, but then there's more jobs, but it's a tough balance. It's like, like you're essentially taking people who've grown up here for like 30, 40 years, and you're telling them to move out because, either all these properties and developments are coming in and they can't afford it. I was actually a teacher here, and I taught on the east side, which historically has like families who've been here for 50 and 60 years and 70 years. So it's interesting because they're having to be forced to move out. So it's tough.
Yeah, so I see a lot of negative and positive, of course, with people moving out, moving in, we're losing culture and such like that. But I just want to thank you so much for taking like 5 seconds of your day to do this little interview with us. Once again, thank you so much, John, and we do appreciate your time. Yeah, thanks, man. Super appreciate it.
Do I need to sign a waiver? Or?
Does he need to sign a waiver? I'm just the face.
It's going to be on YouTube. It posts on YouTube?
Most likely. If you want to add me on Instagram, I can add you.
Kate had
I have no social media type of guy. Yeah, I keep it low profile.
Wow. Ask him. He's the man behind the direction.
Kate had another thought that I think is really cool.
Here you've made me like a camera hog.
No, we go ahead.
The one thing that I also forgot. One thing that I forgot to mention is the gentrification has brought a lot of disrespect to the Howard campus and the Howard students. And I don't know if you've heard, but there were issues with people taking their dogs on the campus, letting their dogs do their business on the campus, not cleaning up. And it became a big deal. Howard, understandably got really angry about this. And I guess it came to a head, and somebody, one of the dog owners said something to the effect of, "Oh, well, Howard should just move the campus." So that really,
Wow.
Excuse my language, but that really pissed me off. So, but that's another huge, detrimental effect to all of this.
So we are seeing all these different perspectives out here today of a lot of people who feel like gentrification is like a negative movement going on here, and we should reserve the culture of, Washington, D.C. and everything that we have here.
Yeah,
So
I think it could be done. It could potentially be done properly, but I think that would be very complex and would involve a lot of cooperation. I think, particularly on the gentrifiers part, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Totally makes sense. It needs to be a whole cooperative movement. Thank you once again. Appreciate it. No, you're great. Thank you. Yeah. Seriously.
See you, Paige.